Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm here with card making ideas for you. Today I am simply using the embossing folder called Traditional Wreath 3D embossing folder. I love the texture of this. It's a very simple image, but it really provides a nice embossed image. And I'm combining this with traditional labels. I'm going to use just a couple sentiments and a die cut out of this set. So making it simple, these cards can be pretty quick. I'm going to make this look kind of special with some watercoloring, and I'll show you that in just a second. So I am ready to emboss. I've got a piece of white cardstock inserted inside the folder, and I have my gray plate here. So let me just flip down to my work area, and I'm going to run these two through, and then I'll show you some other parts and pieces here that I'm going to use to put this card together. So we're coming out the other side. Here we go, embossing folder, and let me move my stamping and cutting and embossing machine out of the way. So I now have this lovely image, and I'm going to leave my folder sitting right there with a lot of texture and depth to it. I'm going to pair this with a red card base, and I'll have a white insert inside. So now that I think about it, I may go ahead and just stamp the inside so that I can be done. And I just pulled out the big Merry Christmas sentiment off of the traditional labels, this one right down here. I pulled that out for the inside, so I'm going to stamp that in red. And I hadn't really thought about what I'm going to do on the inside. I'm kind of doing this on the fly today. It's been busy already, and it's going to get busier. I have a lot of handbell concerts right now. And so I feel like I'm running from one place to another. So there's my Merry Christmas. And I do, I'm just going to use it because it's sitting here. I have been using this quite a bit. It's just this pine bough. And I'm going to do this in shaded spruce. And I'm going to get a little ink on there. I already got some ink on my thumb, so I got to be careful I don't get it on anything else. All right. So I'm going to put just a little spray down there. That's all I want, is just a little bit of a different color, a different texture, kind of a surprise that we have some pine boughs on the inside. It's not going to exactly match the front, but I'm okay with that. And I'm going to leave that open because I will need it. So I won't start assembling yet. That is going to go inside. Maybe I should assemble since it's flying right out of my hands. Let's just do it. I'll do it out of order. I usually do all my assembling at the end, but that's okay. Everybody, I think, has their favorite way of putting cards together, and I can't say that there's a right or a wrong way. I tend to like to do all my stamping first, and then I assemble. But if I'm feeling like Butterfingers today and that I need to put this on the inside, I will just do it and be done. Okay, and now I can set this aside because I'm going to work some more with this piece. What I wanted to do, I'm going to set it right in front of me so I can't misplace it. And I did die cut. I used the larger oval, and I die cut. This is really pretty because it has movable parts. And I've actually threaded ribbon through that, but I'm not thinking that's what I'm going to do today. Could change my mind. I picked the Merry and Bright sentiment, and I debated if I should heat emboss and make it white. And I decided to stick with my shaded spruce. So that is what I'm stamping with here. It's just very dark. It almost looks black on there, but that is shaded spruce. And that's fine. When I tie it together with the ribbon, it hopefully will bring out a little bit of the green. So now I'm ready to begin with my watercoloring. I'm going to put some ink on a block and work off of this. I used to, and I still do it for small things, put ink inside my ink pad, press it, and then I could add water or Wink of Stella and work with it. And I decided today, I'm going to put ink on this block, and that way I can watercolor with that because I'm going to squeeze some water onto here and dilute this a little bit because I don't want, there we go, it's running out the outside. I don't want this to be too dark. I would rather make this a little lighter. So there's another drop of water, and I'll just continue to pull some ink in there. And I can continue to dilute it if I need to. What I was thinking was, on this the raised portions of these leaves, oh, I did get a little darker than I thought. I'm just very quickly putting some color. Here we go. This is a little bit damp, and you can already see I've got some darker and lighter. I'm gonna make that a little lighter. I can kind of do a little bit of the veins here if I wanted to. So I'm just trying, oh, I like that really light one too. I'm just trying to brush this on the raised portions, and I'm working fast, so if it does go off, it's not a real big deal. You're still going to see the texture. I'm just trying to make it stand out a little bit more by giving it this washed watercolor effect. Okay, so there we go. Put some green on there. I might make that just a little bit lighter down here. Let's make that darker. And I can always go back over some. I don't want to get it too wet, but if I want it a little darker, I can add a little more color. I've got some stems here. I can delicately try to hit those stems. And so I'm just giving this a different effect. I'm going to just make that look like the leaf goes beyond the texture, because I was a little crazy with the paintbrush. You could be slower and more detailed, you know, and really brush this on. I was just trying to give it a watercolor wash. So I wasn't trying to be too precise, but you can see how you can do that. You can pick up the ink and pretty much place it exactly where you want it, if that's your style, if you want to do it that way. Like I said, I'm going more of a watercolor wash. So just trying to quickly add some color. And you do have to be a bit careful. Too much water, and you'll have to wait till this dries or use your heat tool to dry it out. I'm not going to put that much water on here, so that should not be a problem for me. I'm trying to be very light with it. Light with the wash and light with the water. Here we go. I'll make that a little darker. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at the big picture here. Let's get those stems and decide, do I need some darker color? I was definitely lighter up in that corner. So I'm going to make one of these a little darker. And I'm just, you know, kind of strategically placing a little darker color. Again, not being just too exact here. Let's make that look like it was bigger. I'm pretty happy with this. It's giving me kind of the effect I was looking for. I'm just trying to make it pop. So I have, there we go, washed off most of that red, I'm sorry, the green ink. I'm reaching for red, so I'm saying red. Washed off most of that green ink, because now what I want to do, there's all these raised berries. Let's see if I can get this. I will transfer this to the lid if I can, to the inside of my ink pad. And so now I'm just delicately picking up, let me move this out to the side. I'm just delicately picking up a little bit of red, and I'm going to put that on all these little raised berries and make those pop. So you can see I'm using less water here, and I do want that to be a brighter red. I've tried this with the watercolor pencils, and it works. It gives the effect, but it's a little more diluted and a little less bright. And so I decided today, nope, let's try it with the, here we go, red ink. And I can vary, and because it's raised and lowered, you know, it's got these indentations, it was harder to use the pencil. It really was. And so I felt like I would have more control with the tip of my paintbrush. I have old and new paintbrushes, these water aqua painters. This happens to be the older one. It was just the one I grabbed. They all work equally well. And the newer set comes with 3 different brush width sizes, which can be really nice if you're doing backgrounds in a true watercolor wash. You can get that effect. with those wider brushes. So I had all green in there. I'm going to go ahead and make that dot, that red dot pop out. And here's a half one. So I'm trying to look to see what did I miss. Nope, got them. There was a little edge of one there. It's right off the paper. I really didn't need to do that, but I did just to give it a little interest. Okay, so those are all my berries. And now I'm going to wipe that clean too. So I now have, yes, I have all my parts and pieces. I'm going to put that away. I have all the parts and pieces I'm ready to assemble. You already saw me do the inside. So now I have dimensionals because I'm going to need those for the outside. I debated which way to do the card, and I had decided I wanted to make this vertical. So I'm going to wrap the spruce ribbon. Could have done red. I mean, you know, anybody watching this knows you can make this any way you want. I'm going to run my spruce ribbon across this way and then put my sentiment in the middle. So I need to adhere this first. And because of all the texture here, I am going to use my Stampin' Seal. So let's go with Stampin' Seal. I want to center this first. And then that looks pretty good. And then I'll put the rest of my adhesive on this piece of cardstock. Now, I could have cut this a little smaller and matted it. If I was going to mat it, I probably would have done it in shaded spruce. I would have pulled out more of the spruce. Whoa. I just felt like, I don't know, I just didn't want to do that today. I wanted to put the white straight on the red because there's already a lot of green here. And then my sentiment is also in red, and I'm going to pop that up with dimensionals. So here we go. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back. I meant to grab the whole strip, and I only got one little piece, but that's okay. I'll go back. And I think I am going to leave this so that it shows how you can, maybe I'll do this one this way, move that outer edge. I really like the detail. I'll have to show that up in a minute. There's curly cues in there, and then it's kind of loose. If it's too loose, I will secure it, but I'm going to pop it off and make sure that it does wiggle a little bit. I just think that's another nice effect. Okay, grab that. All right, Merry and Bright, and center this kind of in between. I think what I'm going to do, I could have watercolored with my Wink of Stella, and that would have given me the shimmer everywhere. So what I'm going to do is just delicately, I'm using a very light touch, not putting this everywhere. I'm kind of going for the bigger leaves. That's just what I decided I was going to do here. So this does not have a very clean, perfected look because of that watercolor. And so it is, to me, it is kind of a different style card as opposed to some of the stamped, oh, I have one sitting here. Some of the stamped images that I've been doing, you know, where this is a very clean spray. It's very clean and crisp. This is different from that. This is a very different effect with that watercolor wash that I just did. But that's my card. So I did use the shaded spruce. It does become a shade or two lighter because of the way, or down here, because of the way I watercolored with it. But that's a different effect. And then if I wanted to, I could put some bling on here. Red berries would be cute. Or put even some rhinestones if you wanted white. So that's my card for today, and just the Merry Christmas on the inside. I can show you, I was playing the other day and I did it the other direction and used the banner, and that's where I did do heat embossing. So two different looks, but kind of the same effect. Yeah, and I was a little lighter with my watercoloring, I think. If you can see, it's a little lighter green here. So every card will be different when you do this. Every single card will look different. So thank you for joining me today. This was using that traditional wreath 3D embossing folder, which just gives a really cool texture. I like that a lot. So stay tuned for the next video. If you like the products and the projects you've seen here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network at Renee Keys. Renee Keys at StampinUp.net. Thank you. See you next time.